Hi everyone, welcome to lesson 20 homework help. Let's get started with number one. There were 628 students in four dormitories. Each one housed the same number of students. How many students were in each dormitory? So we have equal groups problem. So we have how many were in each. So that's going to be the number in each group, the total number of groups, and then the total, which is the given number. So dormitories tell me there's four groups with n amount in each. So we have 628 students in each dormit in all four. So then we just solve for n by using the inverse operation. A candidate for U.S. Senate from Arkansas wants to visit every county in Arkansas. She has already traveled to 36 counties. She has 39 left to visit. How many counties are there in Arkansas? So if she has 39 left, right, then we have to take the 36 that she's already visited from away from the total number of counties. So we have our setup equation C minus 36 equals 39, and we use our inverse operations to solve for C. Number three, the area of a square is a function of the length of its sides. So in other words, the area of a square is equal to the sides squared. Make a function table that shows the area of a square in square units for side lengths of 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So we're going to make a table, right? We're going to make our parts of it. So it's 2, it's 3, it's 4. And then we split it down the middle to make our function table. And so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So then to find the area, you just square each of these. So 1 squared is 1 times 1, which is 1. 2 squared is 2 times 2, which is 4. And so on and so forth to find the area for the other given units. 4, choose the formula for the area of a square. So these two are for perimeter, which leaves C as the only one that's going to be for area. Although A tells us about the perimeter of a rectangle, B is actually very close related to A, but this is for the perimeter of a square, where remember that a square has the side times the side, which is side squared. The row of the sequence is 2 to the power of n. Find the 6 terms of the sequence. So the way we found 2 to the 2 was 2 to the power of 0, and then, or 2 to the power of 1, excuse me, and then 2 squared. So basically every term becomes the exponent. And so to find the 6th term of the sequence, we're just going to rewrite the rule, but instead of n, we're going to replace it with 6. And then from there, you just have to evaluate. Number 6, arrange these numbers in order from least to greatest. Well, we know that all the negative numbers are going to be to the left of 0. So 0 is going to be our real number. And then all the positive numbers are to the right of 0. So to organize the negative numbers correctly, remember that the closer you get to 0, the smaller the negative is. So the bigger negative should go left. Now B says to draw number lines with the numbers from A to show that your answer to A is correct. So we're actually going to have to draw a number line, and include all of our given numbers. Again, 0 is going to go there. We can put 1 there. We can put -1 there. And then for you, it's up to you to decide where the rest of the numbers go. Letter C, which of these numbers are not integers? Remember that integers are whole numbers, positive and negative. So if it's not a whole number, then it's not an integer. Number 7, which is the best estimate of how much of the rectangle is shaded? So it looks like less than half of it is shaded. So from there, you're either going to select 25 or 33 and a third %, and it's just a matter of deciding is it 1/4 or 1/3 that's shaded. Number 8, each angle of a rectangle is a right angle. Which two sides are perpendicular to side BC? So this is side BC. So the perpendicular sides are going to be the ones that make the right angles with BC. And you'll see that we have two sides that fit that description. So make sure that you name the sides. Number 9, simplify. 1/3 to the power of 3. Expanded out is just 1/3 multiplied by 1/3 multiplied by 1/3. And we operate on the numerator and denominator when multiplying fractions. 10 to the fourth, you're just going to have 4 tenths that we are multiplying. And then for letter C, we could do 12 squared and then take the square root, but realize that squaring and square roots are inverse operations, which means that they just cancel each other out, leaving you with just the number underneath. Number 15, for each fraction, find the equivalent one that has a denominator of 36. So you want to make sure that you find a factor that gets you from 9 to 36, multiply the numerator by the same factor. Similar story with 3/4. Find a factor that gets you from 4 to 36, multiply the numerator by that factor. Name one reason we might want to find equivalent fractions. Well, to add them, for one. Subtract them is another. Make sure we're looking at things evenly. Just, whatever reason you think fits the description. List the factors of each number. I'll do B. B is pretty simple. It's just numbers that you multiply to get 7. 1 and 7 are the only ones that fit that description. So make sure that you find all the factors for 10 and all the factors for 1. 12. The perimeter of a certain square is 2 feet. How many inches long is each square? So we have to turn 2 feet to inches first. And we can do that by multiplying by 12 because there's 12 inches in a foot. So now that you have 24 inches and it's a square, we have to split up evenly between the 4 sides of the square. And then your task is to just divide and simplify. Write a squaring fact and a square root fact illustrated by the 6 by 6 square. So a square fact would be that 6 squared is going to be equal to the total number of squares, where the square root fact would be the square root of all the total squares inside is equal to 1 side length for this square, which you can just count out how many squares that is. 14. What is the probability of rolling even number with row of a number cube? A number cube has 6 sides. Count how many even numbers there are. That is your numerator. Simplify if you can. 15 through 22, we're going to simplify and solve as the case dictates. 5x equals 60. They're being multiplied, so use the inverse operation to solve for x. 16, m plus 64 equals 100. They're being added, so we're going to use the inverse operation of subtraction to solve for m. 17, recall our rules for adding exponent, for multiplying bases with same base, different exponent. We can just add the exponent, and the way that would work is if I was to type it out, I would have 5, so we have 4 5s and then 2 5s. So to condense it, the exponent would just be the number of 5s, total 5s that you have, or to add these two. For 18, we just flip the y and the 4, which gives us 60 divided by 4. That'll be your value for y. 19, simplify, add the whole numbers, which is 2. We do not operate on the denominators when adding fractions. We do operate on the numerators. Simplify and then turn it into a mixed number and add the 2 to it. For 20, we do operate on the numerators and the denominators when multiplying fractions. So we multiply straight across and then simplify if you can. For 21, it's just a simple long division problem. So 9 is our divisor. That goes on the outside. 6,345 is our dividend. That goes on the inside. For 22, you could do this a couple ways. We could use our box, which is how I'm going to set it up since we're very familiar with the standard algorithm. So I'm going to set up the box here. We have 360 and 0. And then we have 20 and 5. So you multiply all of these. Remember that you just multiply the first numbers and then add the number of zeros that there are. And then you find the sum of everything. Or you can just multiply. It's up to you. 23, we're going to add 1/4 and 2/4 first. And then whatever the sum is, 3/4 minus 3/4. Since all the denominators are the same, you don't need to do anything different. For 24, we're going to subtract 3/4 and 1/4 first. And then you're going to add 2/4. Since we include subtraction, the associative property doesn't apply here. We'll have different answers for 23 and 24. Evaluate the following expressions for m equals 3 and n equals 10. So m over n, which is 3 tenths plus 3 tenths. Make sure you simplify if you can. However, with m times n, it's going to be 3/10 times 3/10. So it's going to be a little bit different in terms of how you compute. Remember that for A, you're not going to operate on the denominators, but for B, you will operate on the denominators. 26, find the fraction equivalent to 1/2. That has a denominator of 10. So first we have to change it to be a fraction out of 10. Then it says to add 3/10 to that fraction. And then once you have your sum, simplify it if you can. Write 1 4/5 as an improper fraction. So we're going to multiply 1 times 5. 5 plus 4 is 9. So we have 9/5. Then multiply by 1/3. And then simplify the product if you can. Make sure that you operate on the numerators and denominators. 28, which properties are illustrated? You see here that we have a number multiplied by reciprocal equals 1. For B, we multiplied by 1, essentially. So this is going to be the identity property because we multiplied by a value that's equivalent to 1. This will be the inverse property, which tells us that when we multiply by reciprocal, our product is 1. A common floor tile is 12 inches square. What is the perimeter of a common floor tile? And then what is the area of a common floor tile? So I know that the phrasing can be a little confusing, but 12 inches square basically means that, one of the sides is 12 inches long. So then to find the perimeter, all we do is add all the lengths, or since it's a regular polygon, we can just multiply 12 times the number of sides. Then to find the area, since it's a square, you do side times side, which in this case is 12 times 12. Number 30, the perimeter of this hexagon. So we are missing 2 sides, and remember that we can actually kind of solve for that missing side there. You'll notice that this side is going to be x plus 5 equals 10. So that's going to be the x side. Now for the y side, you have a slightly different setup. You have y plus 4 is equal to 8. So y plus 4 equals 8. And I know that you guys can solve this mentally if you really wanted to, but I would encourage you again to practice setting up those equations. And then to find the perimeter, we just add up all the sides, which is 4 plus 5 plus 8 plus 10, and then plus x, and then plus y. So solve for x, solve for y, substitute those values into this equation we set up, and then make tens as you solve it. And then if you can't make tens, then you just add everything up. All right, so that's your homework help for today. Your extra credit, given that it was asking about the senator from Arkansas, why don't you guys go ahead and name the 2 senators from Arizona? So I'm going to type this out. It's a little easier for me to type out. Arizona senators. And then why don't you go ahead and just also name a senator from Arkansas. We'll make it all things even. So 1 each. Either both senators from Arizona. I'll go U.S. senators to be a little bit more specific. And then a senator from Arkansas. Well, this has been your homework help. I hope you found it helpful. Have a great day, and we'll see you later.